Aloha, friends. Today's video, Living Through Ego, was inspired kind of by Teresa. Um, she was, it was funny. I think she was repeating what I said in the video, in the last video, but I don't remember saying it, but I probably did, but I don't remember. It's kind of funny because when I do these videos, there's no notes or anything. Um, I'm just shooting from the hip. Um, Everything's real time. I don't even know how to edit my videos, so I just like if I say something weird, I say something weird, and it goes out there. Um, but yeah, now I can't remember what she was talking about, but it's about something about feed the ego, not the soul, or something along those lines. But it was in the last one, and it's interesting because I guess we're trained to think that the ego, I think, like, or having an ego, um, is a bad thing. Uh, and then I think, like, over time it starts to shift, maybe, or it's just like maybe the spiritual community understands, like, there's a or thinks, that there's a difference. There's an ego self and a spiritual self. And so ego's a good thing, or it's not a bad thing. It just is. um it was But what caught my attention, even though I must have said it, but the way I read it when Teresa typed it out was, it just, like, set me immediately down a path, like, what if the ego self is the human self? And what I mean by that is, because, like, duh, right? But what I mean is, like, maybe that's the self that we're supposed to live this life through. Um, so that we can, like, fully um go through our journey, learning the lessons that we signed up for. Like, maybe it's all supposed to happen through ego, um and not through spirit. I personally feel like it can happen through both, but I'm starting to feel like, this the I don't like I know there's a spirit side, like maybe like your higher self, that's your true spirit. And then but then on the earth plane, there's the ego. And because we're living on the earth plane, sometimes I feel like, we shouldn't be trying to live in spirit all the time, or some of the time. Like, the whole purpose is to go through it um through this viewpoint or lens, um because we signed up for it. And I just feel like, when we sign up for stuff, we put stuff on our path or on our journey, we want to have these experiences. It's because we can't grasp them fully, in the spirit self. Like, we don't understand what it is to go through an emotion. Um because suffering doesn't exist up there or over there, or because there isn't lack or dis-ease. So yeah, I thought it was interesting just the way my mind captured Teresa's um, comment about feeding the ego self, and like maybe um maybe we're supposed to go through life through that lens, um because it's the greatest teacher. um and I say that because if we went through, if we learned things through an elevated point of view or frame of thought, would we capture the I don't want to say true essence, but would we truly capture all of it? The feelings, the emotions, the journey to get to the resolution. No, like I think things would be muted, or you would receive less. Um, but still possible, right? I know now part of me thinks of like Jesus and Buddha and like, you know, all of those guys that walked the plane as a human and then evolved. Um, I guess they went through real life, real suffering, and then eventually came out of it and, became who they were or are. And so I guess it is possible to finish out your life here as a elevated soul, but is it in our best interest? Because I know that I'm not Jesus and I'm not going to be Jesus. Uh, so maybe I need to do what like benefits Richie the most. And that would be to like fully, like maybe to gain full understanding of the lessons that I signed up for. Um, through the best lens, not the easiest lens, right? So the best lens would probably be through the ego self, because through the ego mind, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's trepidation, there's anxiety, there's suffering. Um, and I think all those feelings and emotions are just amplifiers or multipliers uh, that really, when you come through stuff like that, you feel empowered, or like that you feel that great release because you broke through, right? Like the weight is lifted off of your shoulders kind of thing, or you that big exhalation after, where you're just like, oh gosh, um something like that. But through the lens of spirituality, it would just be an understanding. And is that all we need? Or is that what we're supposed to have? Like maybe I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm just thinking out loud all the time on these videos, and I'm not telling people what to think. I'm just thinking, um having open thoughts. But yeah, it's like our I mean, it is possible to learn through spirit's eyes and gain understanding. But is that is that uh is that fulfilling the journey that we signed up for? I don't know. But I want to say that suffering is not needed. Um, and all those bad things that I just named off, um, it's not needed, but it's part of it sometimes. I mean, I think it's cool to like be able to like, oh, you know, you sit back and you meditate a little bit and you get like a vision in your meditation or spirit talks to you, like whoever it is, a guide, an angel, whatever, right? But somebody talks to you, like puts a little here or in your heart, and then that just like flowers, and you're like, whoa, I think I get it. Like I could see the light breaking through the clouds. Um, like that's a cool way to go through, and it's almost like you'd have to be evolved to go through that, right? Um, on this plane, right? On this plane in Earth, you would have to have a greater awareness. But yeah, just going through the life through the ego mind. Um, I don't know. I've thought about it over time too. You know, in different ways of looking at the ego. Like, oh, it tells you, oh, you can't do that, don't do that, you're no good, or you're not good enough, or and it's like you can't listen to that, but then um, it's just a way for protecting yourself. So it's almost like ego has your best interest, but then well, I'm spiraling. I just caught myself on a detour. Um, I don't know. The frustration. Just a thought, though. Just putting it out there. What do you guys think? I don't need validation, but if you want to share a comment, then that's cool. Um, I'm only smiling because I kind of spoke about validation in the last video, and I caught myself at the end um, saying, "Oh yeah, tell me what you think about it," blah blah blah, and in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, are you asking for validation from external?" I was like, "Oh man," caught myself, messed up the whole video, but no, it's all right. It's just a conversation, but it's good to catch yourself into stuff like that. But, anyways, getting back to living through ego. Um, I caught myself, just a second, like 2 minutes ago, maybe a minute ago, because I'm like, we gotta live through the lens of ego. Oh, not we got to, but what if we did? And then when I said something, I realized that I said it like ego was separate. I don't know. This is confusing, but it's fun. Um, I guess it's fun because you get to explore something, a thought. Confusing because you want to understand, but I guess that's what life is, right? It's all a bunch of journeys. Um, and how we want to go through those journeys, right? Do you want to go through it through spirit's eyes or ego's eyes? Because I think we all started one way and then we got like shifted into a different train of thought. And maybe now we're like at the crossroads of picking a side. And maybe we don't have to pick a side, but just understanding that the two sides do exist and they're very important. And Maybe it's about walking the in between and not one way. I guess because if there's two sides, but we chose one way, then we would create an imbalance for ourselves. And I guess imbalance is never a good thing, even though we think it is. Like, oh, I'm taking this path because it's better. But in what way? Right? Like, oh, I'll just choose spirit lens, like look through everything through the eyes of spirit, and it's gonna be easier because there's no suffering. And then maybe I don't get all of it, and then I have to come back and do it all over again, and I wasted an opportunity because if I just did it through my ego eyes, I would have got the full deal, the full experience. I don't have to repeat it. I don't know. One day I will know, though. Just not today or not right now in this moment. But I think maybe I do. Maybe I do. It's just an understanding, I guess, that both sides do exist. Both sides are extremely helpful, and we shouldn't be afraid or look down or put one on a pedestal or above another. I think they should be on the same plane. Probably, most likely, they should be on the same plane. Um, I don't know. I'm just a weirdo, I guess, because I think like suffering is good. I think pain is good. In for the sake of learning a lesson, right? So like the stronger the emotion or the feeling is, then the more powerful the lesson is. And so in that sense, it's good. Nobody wants to suffer or be in pain. I mean, I know for sure I don't. I'm always trying to find the easiest way. But then is that the best way? I don't know. I don't think so. I guess, it's kind of weird because I lived a life of struggle early and hardship. And so it's like the only thing it's like the only thing I know. Like the only I don't want to say the only thing I know because I know other things exist, but it's like the tool I use the most is the hammer and everything else is the nail. Maybe I need to find more tools. But I'll end it there. I'm just going all over the place, wasting your time. But yeah, if you got a thought and you want to share it, the best place to do it is in the comments. Um, Catch you guys on the next one.